Alright guys, so we're back with 2016 for the Nexus 6. Last year I told you I was going to revisit this device, and now it's time to do it after sitting on it for quite a while. Let's get into it. Oh, and this is the rear camera of the Nexus 6. Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. Here is the Nexus 6. So like I said before, last year I told you guys I was going to get another one of these and review it, and I've done so, and I've sat on this for a while. But I thought, man, I have to get this Nexus 6 revisited video out. Well, I don't have to, but I wanted to because really hadn't had a chance to use it a lot because I've been using the Nexus 6P. But this device is not like what I remember. So the first time I got this device, it felt big, heavy, bulky. The battery life wasn't good. The price was $750 is what I paid for it. $699 plus the taxes. But I grabbed this for obviously a much lower price because they're going for a lot lower prices. Last year on Black Friday they were $199, and I think we all grabbed one for $199. So it's a great deal. Now this is just a revisited video, and I want to tell you some things after having it again. Now, as you can see here, I finally have the color that I want, which is the cloud white. I always liked the cloud white, but I couldn't get one. T-Mobile didn't have it, and the Google store was always sold out. So after keeping my midnight blue one for so long, I just couldn't. And what happened is I got the 2014 Moto X, and I just liked it so much more. So this felt like such a bulky device, but having it again now, and all of my devices are pretty much big, this doesn't feel bulky at all, actually. It's actually lighter than my iPhone 6s Plus. It's not as wide as I remember. And some of the things that I didn't like before, which was mainly the battery, it has greatly improved with 6.0. So I missed this beautiful screen on the device. This is actually now my biggest screen device at 6 inches, 5.96. But it is just beautiful. I really can't tell you how nice it is. If you don't have one, you're probably thinking, wow, that's a big device. But the screen is gorgeous. The more real estate you have for media content, the experience is always better. And 6 inches with dual front firing speakers is truly a great combination. Now I know the Nexus 6P has 5.7 inch. My Note 5 has 5.7 inch. But still 6 inches, and then these speakers actually appear to be a little bit louder than my Nexus 6P. I don't know if it's because the body is actually a lot thicker. It's at its highest point is 10.1 millimeters, but the chambers down here are on the bottom is small, and the one on the top is obviously a little bit bigger. But I don't know how big the chambers are in this device. But I will tell you that to me it sounds a little bit louder. So the speaker quality and the screen combination is what I really probably didn't give a long enough chance to before. I had it for a little while, but it's been over a year since I had this device. And having it again, I realized how nice this form factor is. So screen and speakers are great, but the form factor on this thing, it just kind of falls into your hand. It doesn't feel rigid at all. It doesn't feel boxy. The sides are real curvy, and that's the Motorola signature move there, to have it flow into your hand. It's rounded back, feels good. And comparing it to the Nexus 6P, the Nexus 6P, yeah, it's a little bit narrower, but I have big hands, so I really can't tell too much of a difference. But this kind of drops into your hand like a teardrop almost, and this curved back feels fantastic. The design of this is still very beautiful. I don't know. I just think probably also because I have the cloud white color, which is what I originally wanted. I didn't really care for the midnight blue because this was like purple around here where the silver metal frame is. That was purple to me. We all have our eyes adjust the way we want them to adjust, but that just felt purple to me. It didn't feel like it didn't look blue. But midnight blue, I've looked at it before, and in my eyesight, midnight blue doesn't look purple. But that's just me. It wasn't an ugly device. It just felt like a purple phone, and I just couldn't deal with that. But having the cloud white, and this is like a dull gray, if you will, or a really dull white. It's good. It's better looking phone than the midnight blue, in my opinion. Now, those are some highlights that I like so far. But what I don't like is the signal on this. So the signal on this phone for some reason, it's always either if I'm inside my house or in some places, it's still in the office. It's just like that. It drops signal and it comes back. Like the signal just drops away and then it comes back continuously. So if a phone is continuously searching for signal, you're going to not get the best battery life. But with the Nexus 6 now on 6.0, battery life has been pretty good. I mean, I don't have any complaints. I have an hour and 40 minutes of screen on time so far. And it's saying I have about 20 hours left. But you can see where Doze works the best. You see how Doze is just, that feature just cruises across. Go to sleep with 98%. I woke up with 96%, I believe. I can definitely get another 3 hours of screen on time for sure. But battery life is definitely greatly improved. Having it on Wi-Fi too a lot can help, because if your phone is searching for an LTE signal or just a cell phone signal, period, as you can see there, like it just keeps dropping. It's not losing service, but it's just dropping really low in signal, and that's something that I kind of hesitate with when using this phone, because when I'm surfing the web in certain parts or areas where I'm at, it doesn't go really fast. It doesn't feel like LTE. But nonetheless, that's one of the drawbacks that I felt. And then without this camera update, the phone is kind of sluggish. Hey, see, I'm recording my iPhone. The transitions seem a little slow without this before I got this update. But nonetheless, changing, that's like a little bit of a delay. You see that delay? See, but it's it's just one of those things, I guess, that can definitely be fixed in a software update. But overall, the Nexus 6 to me is still a very relevant device. It's fluid, fast, performance is good. The 805 processor in here is worth, this package is worth $199. This package is worth $350. But the original asking price was a little ridiculous to me. I wasn't really a fan of it. But nonetheless, we're here now, and we can get these at a much lower price. And if you were smart and caught it on Black Friday for $199, great. And sometimes I think they've been dropping them down to $250 on Amazon, is where I purchased it at. And eBay now, people are basically probably buying them from Amazon, trying to sell them on eBay for jacked up prices. But hey, excuse me. You can find this basically less than $400, and you can get a 64 gig for a good price as well. But it's still a relevant device. And in that video a while back, I told you that I'd probably get this over the Nexus 6P. Well, obviously I bought the Nexus 6P even after buying this. But I think that if I was going to recommend out of the two, with the pricing on this one, it just makes sense. You get a bigger screen, you get the same dual front firing speakers, you get quality performance. I don't know. The cameras are not as good as the Nexus 6P. I'll admit to that. But they're like, that's another thing. When I recorded the video of my review last year, or I think it was even in 2014, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it might have been in 2014. I don't remember, but it's been a while. I said the cameras were great, and they were great at that time. Now, when I put them up against like a Note 5 or a Nexus 6P or iPhone 6s Plus, they're just good. They're not great compared to those. And again, this is the older software. The Moto G has the same camera as this with some enhancements, the 3rd gen. And that camera seems pretty good. And this one is really good too. But just when you compare it next to some of my current devices, the camera has just kind of it's just good now. It's not great. And that's to be expected when technology moves as quick as it does. But that's not to say that the Nexus 6P is a horrible phone, because it's actually fantastic. And if you have a Nexus 6P, I think you better hold on to it, because this hardware combination can stick around for a long time. I mean, let's see, iPhone 4S long time. That phone is still getting the latest update, and it still works flawlessly from people that I talk to. And that's what we need on the Nexus line. That's what we need on the Android side. We don't have enough phones that are old like that to where people don't have to upgrade in order to feel like their device still has some value. And the Nexus line, I personally would like Google to just produce their own, stick with one OEM or do it yourself. Because jumping around like this, yeah, we get a different variety of OEMs that can create a great Nexus device. But then you get a mixture, and then you got to worry about if it's going to get an update or not, or is it going to be relevant after a while? But I would tell Google, produce your own hardware, and you will have a killer setup. Then you can charge whatever prices you want. But yeah, this is this combination right here is still very relevant, and I was happy to be able to pick it up for the the $200 price tag. That's just a ridiculous price for such a fantastic package. Yeah, my signal is in and out sometimes, or gets low, whatever, but it still works. And also the cameras, they're not great, but they're good, and it's very doable for the next 2 to 3 years, more than likely. I mean, what do we want out of our cell phones? We just want something that works. Remember, because a lot of people don't use these for talking anymore, unfortunately. But we need to. And that's what actually they're for. Back in the day, I remember when cell phones were for emergency purposes. We didn't talk on the phone with them while we were driving, and it was in the glove box turned off. Our pager was our main access point. Nonetheless, this is the Nexus 6 revisited in 2016. Is it still great? Yeah, it's really nice. And if you got it for that sweet price tag of $199, sound off in the comments. I think we got a sweet deal. It's your man Jay Will. I did another round, didn't I? Take care, guys.